jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Man, that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
What's good? Shout out to the hottest chat in the MFN game. A-Side official. No negotiations needed, period. You already know WCS is back in the building. What's good, man? Salute to everybody that's on their way in. Salute to BG Bud Gunstop. Canelo is the first in the building. What's good, man? I see you. Sticking boys, fishing and sports on deck. What it do, man? Salute to everyone that pulled up in the chat. We got a returning topic. You know what I'm saying? As you know me, I definitely like to revisit certain areas that I've covered in the past when I believe they're relevant. Why? Because I don't want it to go away. I don't want it to dissipate and people just sit here like, no, I ain't never hear you talk about that. Yeah. One of the primary topics today is going to be Ennis again, because it's just word going around that boxing fans should not accept. I'm pretty sure they're not cheerful about this whole thing with the Phenom. Supposedly, that's what they call them, the Phenom. And also, I'm gonna touch bases on Gervonta Davis. You know what I'm saying? Abdul Wahid, aka El Chin Checker. A lot of people have been talking about him because they miss Tank. They want him to get this specific fight because he's in a place where Floyd used to be. Okay? People want to pay to see him lose. They're so frustrated with Tank. They're bickering over Tank. Belligerent over Tank. You know, his fans are telling him, hey, he making the money. You know, he's the cash cow, 135. He's making millions. He's just on a whole nother level than these guys. He's in the top 10 all-time grossing pay-per-views with Ryan Garcia. You know, you have to factor in boxing at the end of the day. It is a business, man. It's a business. Why certain people try to forget that boxing is a business, man? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guy Haynes, Legacy on deck. Good morning to you and the fam. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the wife for being that support system, man. You know what I'm saying? Making sure a brother needs to take the next step after the next step. You know what I'm saying? Combine that with your mental strength. You know what I'm saying? God bless, man. Continue to fight. Another person, Toby Bartley, Mr. International, salute to you. Hope you and your family doing well, man. I hope you're doing better in your health. You know what I'm saying, Toby? I hope you're improving also, man. One love to the people in the chat. You know what it is. But let me start off by speaking about Ennis situation. Why is it so important for me to revise his FICO score? At one point in time, I felt like Jerron Ennis was on the elevation part of it. He was climbing the ladder. He was taking a flight to an entirely different elevation when it comes to stardom in boxing. I did. He was moving along. I really didn't think he got off the tarmac with the Karen fights because Karen was not really a big name to begin with, right? So I didn't think he really did anything special with Karen. But he ended up fighting him twice, though. I'm like, what's going on? Like, how does Karen supposed to bolster your career? So he went the distance with Karen twice. Did nothing for his career. This man is sitting at 34 victories and 30 defeats after defeating Stantionis and stopping him for a title. But the bad thing about it is that majority of the fight fans that know who he is wasn't giving Stantionis a chance. You understand me? They wasn't giving Stantionis a chance to shock the world. They wasn't. They was just happy that Ennis was able to fight for a belt. That's all that was. Takes me back to Crawford Spence. They wanted Spence to pick up all the titles. When I say all the titles, not the one he got from Kell Brook. He did what he's supposed to do. But the other two titles, they say that Spence was doing all the heavy lifting. So therefore, he was the higher seller. He was putting butts in the seats. That is the narrative. I swear to God, grown adults were saying this stuff over and over again, like A, B, and C in the alphabet. He's putting butts in the seats. He did all the heavy lifting. You tune into these panels and go to their catalog. These grown adults are supposed to be going to work, making a living, running a family. They would get on here and say the same thing all the time. But when it comes to Ennis didn't really do the heavy lifting. Ennis just went into a fight with a guy who not many considered to be an essential threat to Jerron Ennis's win streak, to his undefeated, unblemished record. Nobody was thinking Stantionis, of all people, was going to bring in the Rocky music. No, nobody was looking at that. Nobody was waiting for the music to play when he stepped in there with Stantionis. Nobody. But he beat him, and he became the IBF and whatever WBA champion, right? So let's get to the wickets of why I have Jerron Ennis as the pound for pound number one duck master. He took over Ryan Garcia's position. Yeah. At one point in time, Ryan refused to acknowledge Devin Haney when he jumped in the ring to fight him. Okay. He said he was fighting Gervonta Davis. He ended up pulling up out of that fight. He said he was going to fight the Long Ranger, Manny Pacquiao, at that time. Didn't get that fight. So Ryan Garcia had some situations going on where I felt that he too wasn't doing what he's supposed to, but he was never in a position of Jerron Ennis because Ennis is holding straps. He finally unified at welterweight division, and though commendable, it is commendable, you all. It wasn't enough before he vacated the IBF. It wasn't enough. Why it wasn't enough? Because he said, frankly, that his manifesto consisted of him becoming what? His manifesto consisted of him becoming welterweight undisputed. Am I just making this up? He said, Bozy said, and everybody else that was over there said, his intent is to become welterweight undisputed. Do y'all take in consideration when I speak about the next star, right? Especially when it comes to black fighters, the next star and how there's 17 divisions, but we excluded from the lower divisions, from middleweight way up to, I would say, 122. There's not many black fighters that's in those weight classes. So you have to take it from 126 up to 168, give or take 168, right? You go from 126 to 168. That's like 7 divisions or something like that. So being that we heard Jaron Ennis say that he wanted to become undisputed in 4 weight classes, this was a declaration that he put out there, and he absolutely abandoned that. Jaron Ennis aborted mission. Jaron, I never would have did another boxing FICO on you if you would have held up to your word. But you said, I am looking to become undisputed in 4 divisions. He said that on Ariel Hawani. So when you go into an undisputed and you have these champions, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that it's going to be a 50-50 fight with these champions. Okay? We all can agree to that. We see divisions right now that are fragmenting. Other champions, some champions, if they lose the belt on the scales, or if they vacate the titles and move up to a higher division. We don't see other champions come up, and we really don't know if they're the top elite as a champion if they get the belt until they fight somebody that's supposed to be the higher status quo in that division. Okay, so right now it was some talk and some chatter about who was really the man at 47 for a short period of time until Team Norman started to shut it down, say stop saying he the king until he fight us. So we already know what happened with that. They was trying to pretty much lowball the crap out of them, Norman, with this, and make it extremely difficult. And I couldn't understand why if you really want to fight, right? He went on to fight Stantionis. So word has it, when Norman Jr. was heading into, the Jin Sasaki fight, they said, hey, we calling out boots, guaranteed, abso-effing-lutely. That's what they said. But when Team Ennis heard that, they had already know it was out there in the air. Just like pollen in the springtime, beginning of spring, right? It was in the air. People start to sneeze over there in Philly. Ouch! What's that? Damn, my nose running. What's the date on that calendar, please? It's 2 days out. 2 days out. Oh my God. No wonder I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach. They're gonna call me out. So he went public and say, I know what I said last time, that I made weight easy. It's hard for me to get up for this competition. But I made weight easy last time. But now all of a sudden it seems like overnight my body changed. My body changed so much to the point where it's hard for me to make weight at 147. Hell, it's hard for me to even think about fighting one of the worthy challengers at 147 in this division. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna slide out and go up to 54 for my own health, because y'all understand one thing, y'all. I'm 28 years old. Do you hear me? I'm 28 years of age. I've been putting wraps on, lacing gloves in the bag. Do you understand my pain? 28 years old. Dog, look, y'all, Jaron Ennis was selling to us that he was 28 coming up when he was 27, yo. They knew the word was out there that when this man returned from Japan, or even in Japan, they was going to call out Ennis. They knew it. All this talk about sparring and who messed up who got the better of who, it was right there, yo. It was right there for me to save a thumbnail and not put a new FICO score rating out on Jerron Ennis if they just would have took the fight. But you know what? His fans and whoever else that became a part of the cheer squad, they didn't want to hold this man accountable. Why should we hold Jerron accountable? Because he got mad potential. Jerron Ennis got mad potential, bro. But it's something that's not there. Even look, it's something that's not there that tells me Jerron Ennis will never be a superstar. It's just disappointing to me, bro. It's something just ain't right. Because I'm saying to myself, with all that talent that we see in the ring and with others encourage him, they give him plaudits. They say, hey, he's the next best. He's that much better technically than Brian Norman Jr. He's all these things. But when it came down to the word festering out there in the boxing universe, waiting patiently for Jin Sasaki consciousness to return, they're in disappointment because Norman Jr. just went over there and went viral with Jin Sasaki. Bigger than anything Jerron Ennis has done in his career. But yet they wait to the day of to basically not just grab hold of some clout, not to grab hold of some momentum. They wait till a day. They say all of a sudden he's 28 years old. Oh my God, I want to go to 154 because I just can't make the weight here at 147 no more. I think God said it. I think it was God's calling. That's what I was hearing from Ennis. Ennis, do you know I was extremely I really want Ennis to go up there at 154 and do what he got to do, especially when he has some of these rogue Ennis supporters who are out here trying to advocate for you. And me being older, I try to give them wisdom and mentorship when they out here speaking reckless, and I try to make them aware, Ennis, that if you're going to advocate for a fighter, make sure the fighter's advocating for themselves. Okay? That's all I ask of you. If you're advocating for a fighter, make sure the fighter's advocating for themselves. Ennis ain't advocating for himself. He's not advocating for himself, y'all. That's why his FICO scores dropped to a whopping 578. He has currently been penalized for dropping the IBF title, which he did nothing with. He spent all that time making sure he get the title from a fighter who won it in one of the biggest fights of this era in the T-Mobile massacre. He was delivered the belt via a message and a red receipt. Then a knock on the door, no signature needed. Ta-da! You have mail. He gets the belt and then tells that champion Crawford to come get his belt. No, that's just not the way it works. See, Ennis, you want people to be in pursuit of you. That's what you wanted from Crawford. You wanted Crawford to be in pursuit of you. But guess what? You have fighters that's in pursuit of you now. You have fighters that's in pursuit. And Ennis turned into the fighter that blends right in with the song. Tune me up. Tune me up. I'm Mr. Tune Me Up. Jerron Ennis is Mr. Tune Me Up. Yeah, he's Mr. Tune Me Up, y'all. That's Ennis. Mr. Tune Me Up. The truth has came to the light. It's not like this was ever in the dark. It's just it was hard for people to just come out here and acknowledge it. Like I did a rankings on Jerron Ennis a while ago. And you ask yourself, how can WCS do a ranking live on Jerron Ennis? Because it was a little bit shaky. Why would he be the only fight I did a boxing fight co on initially? I seen this long time ago. Whether you believe it or not, I seen Jerron Ennis's, discrepancies long time ago. I just wanted to give him an opportunity to work himself away from that. He hasn't did it. The man is 34 victories into his career, and you have a an entity in Turkey Al-Sheikh. You have a multifaceted shot caller, in Turkey Al-Sheikh, who's basically, with his monetary provisions, is allowing fighters to make somewhat lucrative monetary purses higher than what they used to in the previous, right? That's what he's doing. Now, what we've also found out is that it's not a carnival that you're driving down the highway and you say, oh man, beautiful lights. Let's pull up over there. I got some taste for some cotton candy and popcorn. What about a candy apple? Sour? Yeah, let's pull over. Turkey let it be known that they're not a sideshow. So he has had some hiccups where he showed where he can make it about reality TV, where he can make it a little messy, right? And that's exactly what we seen with Ennis. Hell yeah, we just seen that with Ennis. You know, because people will be quick to tell you a mother effing lie, right? They say, oh man, you just hating on Ennis. You just do. I never hated on Ennis. I don't know the guy. He's a good guy. I don't know him like that. But it's just something about the hype that they put the hashtag, they gave him the hype label without actually showing that he is the hype. And the reference that they was attempting to use were Ramon Villa. How dare you insult me like that? You went with Villa? A robot? A robot. Please stop moving so I can stand right here in front of you. Land any type of combination set you want. I'm going nowhere. Ping, 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 ping. Pause. I'm moving to my right and resetting. My face is beginning to hurt. I'm moving closer. Engage. Ping, 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 ping. That was Ramon Villa. But people was up there saying, oh my God, he beat Ramon Villa. That's what he did. He beat Ramon Villa, y'all. That beat Rashidi Ellis. And I was saying to myself, I'm not impressed with that BS, man. I'm just not impressed with him taking out Ramon Villa. And then all of a sudden, Eddie Hearn showed you all what boxing is about. Eddie Hearn said, hey, I can talk with the best of them. Boxing fans are stupid. But for real, I think Eddie Hearn look at us like, hey man, I could care less what they think. But if I'm in front of the camera, I'm gonna say boxing fans this, that. Oh man, we can pack out Wembley, we can do this, or we can pack out Jerron Ennis's, backyard and have 160,000. Even they have to sit on each other's shoulders. Even if they have to do standing room only, we'll do it. The capacity of the building can be 50,000. Eddie Hearn come in here and talking about we packed it out with 170. Eddie Hearn, it really doesn't care about the boxing fans when it comes to doing what he want with Jerron Ennis. Eddie knows that Ennis is a talent. Okay, he knows. So when he signed him, that was the biggest high point of Ennis crossing over that bridge to Eddie Hearns was the flyers that went out when they signed him, right? Eddie put it out there to the general public as if he was going to line or put in biggest fights. But what he did was allow him to have fights in his backyard so to build a fan base. You know what I'm saying? To have his own Philly fan base come out. Why? Because that's where the babysitting comes into play for Ennis. Ennis doesn't come off to me as a road warrior. Ennis come off to me as I want to stay at home in the comfort of those who I'm aware of, familiar with, and those who love me. I can lay in my bed, whether I'm feeling happy or sad, and they can bring me some hot tea or cocoa, and then a marshmallow if I even want. It make me feel that much better. And then also, sometimes when it's raining out and I'm sad and blue, they will come in there and give me a lollipop. Ennis wants to stay right there in his backyard. Eddie Hearns knew that. Eddie Hearns come over there and do some weird business moves, right? The reason why I'm saying they weird is because when I look at Norman Jr. down here, they say he ain't sold nothing, nothing in Georgia. I listen to rather the proponents of excuses that was made that Brian was about to make 17-17. Once again, you have to be very, very understanding of these boxing fans, right? I know a lot of you cats like me, you all wasn't planning to grow up as adults and be a part of special education, but you found yourself somehow associated with the sport of boxing, and you found out there's some special needs in this group. You know what I'm saying? In this group of individuals that support boxing, there's some special needs. There is. They will run with a number and a word forever and a day. It went from 14 pounds when Crawford was moving up to 17 times what he ever got paid. I swear to God, letters 1 through 7, I know they pissed off right now. They were speaking to their legal team and they say, hey, can we get some monetary compensation? They're using our name like this. Shouldn't we get something? So they bail, so they make it difficult. I'm gonna put it out there. They make it difficult for the black fighter. Yeah, I'm putting it out there. They make it difficult for Norman. Norman had to jump through hoops and all that. But then turn around for Karen. Eddie didn't even win the purse bid. Karen's team did. Then they had to pay him extra money so the fight wouldn't be out of Philly. It can be in Philly. And they just could have accommodated Brian Norman. They really wanted to fight. They didn't want to fight. That's a duck. Then you come around with Stantionis. This man said he took less money. But yet when you heard news break, Jerron Ennis was out there saying, we send them 3 orders. I mean, not 3 orders, though. I'm thinking about Popeye chicken. But we sent them 3 offers, and they turned them down. A counter offer is not a rejection. It's a continuance. Okay, let's get that straight. Language is everything. Okay, even if you have someone that you assume they knew good English, but they're acting kind of weird, you should always have a backup plan. ASL. Okay, everyone should know how to sign. It's just little non-communicative gestures that you could do with your hand to let people know what's on your mind. I'm being honest. Went into the Stantionis fight, took less money, y'all. He took less money to fight Stantionis. Why would he accommodate and babysit Stantionis? When Brian Norman had a title, Stantionis had a title. I can tell you why. Because they felt that Stantionis was definitely the easier touch. They knew for a fact Stantionis was the easier touch. So you can go in the ring and fight Stantionis, right? He fought Stantionis April of 2025. He went in there and stopped Stantionis in round 6. You're trying to convince me that y'all couldn't have went through great lengths if you did it for Korean. You didn't win the purse bid with Korean. You had to jump through hoops for him. Really become double Dutch players. Then you went up there with Stantionis. You took less money. All the connection points back to him having fights in Philly. Typical master plan by Eddie Hearns. Have Jerron Ennis fight in Philly at home so they can say, oh, he's selling out this and that and the other. Yeah, we've seen that already. We've seen fighters be in their hometown. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in a conversation or a room, because at one point in time, Jerron Ennis was on Tank Davis undercard, right? And if you're in the room with Tank Davis and all that, and you're talking about bragging about selling out Philly, a dude like Tank might laugh at you, or Calvin Ford might be there just in close proximity. Calvin might look over at you because he hear what's going on, and he might not say nothing because he a G like that. He's just gonna be a listener, attentive listener. Now Tank, on the other hand, Tank might be listening to it and wonder why y'all even talking about this shit like it matters. Because if you ain't fighting outside, in New York City, if you ain't fighting in other places like Vegas, in the Meccas, other Meccas, if you ain't selling out the Barclays, you know what I'm saying? If you're not doing big numbers elsewhere, a boxer like Tank might be there looking at you laughing. He might be there looking at you laughing, bro. He might say some slick shit like, "That's cute right there. That's cute." Y'all talking. That's cute. You talking about, selling out Wells Fargo in Philly. That's cute right there. That's cool. That's hilarious. I was just trying to get a little closer to see if I actually heard it correctly that you was up here bragging about, the numbers you did in Wells Fargo. Okay. Ennis, in my opinion, does not want to leave home. And somebody, anybody, everybody should have told this man when he made the commitment to say he don't want to fight at 147 no more, that he was moving up to 154, and you're not making the calls. You got some hitters up there. This man was on the phone with Turkey. "Hey, Turkey, you okay? It's good to hear your voice, Turkey. You know who this is." My friend, get to the point. Let me tell you something. You call me, don't act like I'm a rookie. You call me, you know who I am. Okay? Do you know who I am? Let me tell you something. Next, matter of fact, hang up the phone and call me back and act like you know who I am. That's what you can do for me. And it's trying to call Turkey up and act like he was the new star on the block. Roll out the red carpet. Turkey revealed on the Boxing Voice that, hey, I'm all for having Ennis on deck, but we're not a charity. Ennis wants 2 tune-ups. Let that sit with you. Let that marinate like vinegar and some cayenne pepper. Let that marinate on a fresh batch of collard greens, goddammit. Uncooked. Vinegar and cayenne pepper on a spoonful of collard greens, uncooked. Just let that sit on there like that. Just come back to it later. You don't need to apply no heat to it. Jaron Ennis, the phenom, was outed by the one and only Turkey Al-Sheikh for wanting. No. Let's hold up now. Let's hold up. They felt some type of way because Tank said 2 Ferraris. Non-living being, just mechanical. Just mechanical creatures. They have to be operated, not the driverless. Tank didn't ask for the driverless Waymo Ferraris. Hey, I heard Waymo makes these Ferraris as driverless. I always wanted to know what it was like to ride on the passenger side of a driverless Ferrari, a Lambo. Tank asked for 2 Ferraris, 3, 4, whatever you want to say. But Jaron Ennis came in here asking for human beings. He wants Turkey to pay him more than what he was making in Philly for the same quality of opposition. How dare you? How dare you, Jaron Ennis? Go up here and seek out soft touches when this is supposed to be you stepping out the cubicle space you've been in Philly and level changing. This is supposed to be how Jaron Ennis level change in boxing. Him moving up to 154, having all these people having faith in him. This is what you tell Turkey Al-Sheikh. I don't care who you match me up with. I want to fight the best. No. Jaron needs 2. Look, this man fought Stantionis in April of 2025. But prior to Brian Norman, right? Going over there to face Jen Sasaki, right? Prior to Brian Norman going over there to face Jen Sasaki, the word was on the street already. They say, once you get finished with Jen Sasaki, are you calling out Ennis? Yes. Absolutely. Ain't that what they said? Ain't that what was out there? They say they was calling out, and this is like days out, weeks, my bad, weeks out. That they, people was, Team Norm was doing their press tour and everything. Weeks out. Come to find out also that like 30 days, I don't care if I'm on correct spot, the landing spot, or the helo pad exactly or not. But word has it that wasn't it said that they had told a certain individual they was moving up like 30 days out from the fight? Am I right or wrong? Like I kind of heard that, like they put that out there that they was moving up like 30 days while other people believing that they was going to stay at 47 to see what the results was for Brian Norman. Brian Norman stepped in there 2 months after Stantionis. 2 months, y'all. Jerron fought April of 2025, and Brian Norman fought June of 2025. On the eve of him already being in Japan for 2 weeks, on the eve, the announcement went out that Team Ennis was moving up to 154. The worst part about that announcement is that Jerron Ennis' fans believed that this was a coming out moment. He's moving up to 154 to do bigger and better things. That right there was a slap in the face with cactus hands, right? That right there was crazy. But then again, you have to look at the disrespect that it was, knowing the Team Norman said, hey, we coming for Boots Ennis. That's who we want to fight after Jen Sasaki. And boy, what it would have been if Ennis did not put it out there to the fight fans that they was moving up. What if they still would have held in place based off the knockout momentum that Norman Jr. had in Japan to come back over here? Now, the press tour consists of Team Ennis, Team Norman Jr. talking about the next fight. I guarantee you we have much more hype than Norman Haney, in my opinion. Why? Because they're in the same division. Haney haven't had a fight at 147 yet. But to get two sitting champions, one unified and the other one the WBO, it would have made for a very good press tour. But hold up. I don't like talking about certain things that's already in hindsight, because you can manipulate what ifs all day long. But they decided to come out and say they're moving on. Like I said, the bad thing about that is the expectations for Jerron Ennis was this was his coming out to move up to 54 and start stamping his name in the division. This man has been crying about being 28 years of age. This man act like me and him have the same birthday year. But he believes in boxing years, he's the same age as me. That's what I get for Jerron Ennis. And look, not even that, yo. Not even that. If you make the announcement and you have others running around here saying, hey, I want to do a live. I want to have a debate on who should be Jerron Ennis' next opponent. Hey, next live stream, I want to go over the spaces. I want to put Jerron Ennis' first three choices. Who should he fight first at 154? all this talk and collective bargaining that was going on out here in the YouTube streets, did you hear any supporters holding him accountable for the ducking and dodging, dipping and waddling? Did y'all hear his fans holding him accountable? No. Their fans are somewhat bleeding in the aerospace. They hear no evil when it comes to Ennis. They see evil, but it's hard for them to really get some clarity because they have their hand over their eyes and they barely cracking it. I get it. But at the end of the day, they was expecting Ennis to go to 54, and me on the other side, I was looking at it like, okay, come on, Ennis fans, hold him accountable. Victor Ortiz's name keep coming up. Why Victor Ortiz will be avoided? A fighter who's not a current seeded champion at 154. Why? Why can't you face Victor Ortiz, a common name? Why can't Ennis be held accountable like every other fighter that they choose to, finger point and extend their arms, and disjoint themselves, trying to damn point the blame elsewhere? Why can't Ennis be held accountable for avoiding Victor Ortiz, avoiding T.O., ducking Norman Jr.? I mean, the list goes on and on for this guy. And then he want to duck 2 more at 154? This is a different type of ducking now. This man said he's 28 years old. It's hard for him to get up for competition when they're not high level. Then he proposes to his fans and say, I'm moving up to 154 at this point. And he gets on the phone. He's communicating with Turkey. And Turkey say, hey, my friend, let me tell you something. I'm happy that you're here. You're ready. You're ready to make history. You're the phenom. This is who I want to match you up with first. I think you, Virgil Ortiz, November. Oh, my God, that would be a great fight. That would be a great fight. NSA, Virgil who? Virgil Ortiz. The one that fought Madrimov. This, that, and the other. You and him was at 147 in the same rankings together and all that. Oh, that's what I thought you. Dada. Hey, Dada, can you come here for a second, please? Turkey Al-Sheikh is mentioning that guy Virgil again. You know how I get when that name comes up. Everybody's trying to put me in there with Virgil. I'm my own person. I want to have more fights in Philly, Papa. Papa, get on the phone and talk to Turkey for me. Please. Jerron Ennis want his Papa to get on the phone and say, this is Bozy at Turkey. This is what we got planned over here. We got a lot going on. You know how Philly boxing is. We got a lot going on. But this is what we want you to know. Right now, my son's turning 28 years old. I mean, when you combine that, how long he been boxing, how many sparring wars he had. Really, we're talking about he's 48 years old, Turkey. So, Turkey, hear me out. His last fight was in April. Okay, he got to take some time off again. 28 years old. Come on, man. Do you know all the fights he had to attend to at 47 to earn the name he got? Oh man, my son's a phenom. Just give him a little bit of time. What answer did you give him about the tune-ups though? Can you give us a tune-up? Give us the paycheck as if it's the highest we ever made at 147 per fight, but yet give us somebody that we can get acclimated to the division. Turk, you know how that worked, Turk. Come on now, being his father now. I've been in this life forever when it's boxing game. Come on, man, get us started. Turkey wasn't trying to hear that. Turkey was not trying to hear none of that was going on with them trying to prove to people that he needs 2 tune-ups. No, your FICO score drops deep down in the spit bucket, way down. I'm talking about 100,000 fights a fighter spitting in the bucket and no one empty it. That's what I'm talking about. Jerron Ennis boxing fight co is. I want to give a big shout out to Haynes Legacy, man. Thanks for the $10 super chat. I mean, $10 donation in the cash out, my brother. It's much appreciated. I definitely one love to you, bro. Thanks for your continuous support as always. I appreciate you. Let me get to this. Shout out to Carlos Rosado with the 2-piece in the super chat. WCS, this mother effer, not from Philly. Well, you have to get with the rest of his supporters over there and find out how you all can peacefully organize a protest there, Carlos. I'm all about peace. Shout out to Squad in the building. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Squad in the building. But this is my thing with Ennis, why his FICO score is so low. When you are doing shit that where your actions in the bottom of a spit bucket and nobody's emptied that bitch, that is called being lazy. When you walk in the gym and that same red spit bucket is over there, and you know you got sparring, and you say, you know what? Okay, at least I know spit bucket, whatever. And you see one in one corner, see one in the other. They have just as much spit in both of them. But to know that your boxing FICO is in a spit bucket in this. Why? Because you had expectations from a lot of people to break out of the 147 pound because you're 28 and you can't get up for the low competition, even though Brian Norman was way outside that scale of opinion, way outside. And you go get on the phone with Turkey and you say you need 2? Dude, do you know what other fighters are doing at your age? This is a travesty, yo. This is a travesty. This is a pretentious travesty. This is a facade of all facades. This, I can almost assure you, this is somewhat like a scandal, y'all. Because look, they sat up there and played the boxing community like this was supposed to be the next. I try to tell you all when they sent that letter, when Ennis, chose to jump out the WBO, right? Because they thought Errol Spence was going to win the undisputed. That didn't happen. So he became the mandatory. Why? Because Virgil Ortiz left. He gets the mandatory and get the belt. We all know how that played out via administrative duties. He gets the belt and say, when he gets the belt, it's over. When he gets the belts, he gonna step on him. That's what Ennis said. I'm gonna step on him. When I get the belts, it's over. I'm gonna step on him. Fried 2 my nuggets and give me a Chick-fil-A sandwich without all the goddamn chemicals and shit. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, when I get the belt, it's over. It's over. He gets the IBF title and he tell Crawford to come get his belt. Some nana boo boo shit. That faded away, right? Crawford said, man, get out of here. Crawford gave him the Heisman. Man, get out of here with that. Then he turned around and built up Karen's career. For real, he built up a guy named Karen and allowed him to buy his first Scat Pack. He got that man paid in 2 fights. It wasn't Andy Ruiz money when he beat Joshua, but he allowed that man to make enough money to buy his first Scat Pack. He always wanted to be the first over there and to get that Scat Pack. So he built up 2 fights with Karen. He fought the same guy that they was crapping on Crawford about. They say avocado and all this. But when you look at how it ended, Eddie Hearns had to go to a last resort, y'all. Eddie Hearn had to go into his Hearns of trick and call in the family doctor that's been around the family forever and say, you know what to do. This fight cannot go into the 6th round. You know what I mean? Get it out of here now. Stop this fight. I don't care if he speaks clear English or not. You don't understand. He doesn't understand. Speak Swahili. They sit the family doctor in there and act like Avanesian didn't know what he was talking about. Huh? Oh, he said he's quitting. A fight's over. So Jerron Ennis couldn't get Avanesian, who had already been knocked out twice. This is the culminating moment of the charade, y'all. This is the culminating moment. Why? Because when WCS looks at this whole process, right, I can continue to just take slices from the pie, right? But I just want to leave enough for the hottest chat in the game to understand certain things. I do. Because when Jerron Ennis could not stop a fighter who had been stopped already, he could not stop Avanesian, who had been stopped twice already. And the fans say, yeah, hey, Jerron Ennis, he stopped Avanesian in 5 early. I say, seriously, you really want to go there this early? Seriously, you really want to go there? It's early in the day. It's early in the week. Everything's early about this nonsense. You really want to get foolish this early, being that a family doctor was able to stop the fight. But hold up. But Brian Norman goes in here and cleans Jen Sasaki's psychological timepiece. So much to the fact that they haven't been able to retrieve 2 months of his memory, which is somewhere around the arena. I'm serious. It's somewhere around the arena. They should check certain rows, probably row 163 per se. I'm just guessing from me when I was over there. Maybe they should even check out near the concessions. I don't know. The left hook came quick in a hurry, and it was very, very hard punch, right? But Brian Norman go in there and knock out Jen Sasaki, who's already been stopped. But to hear Jerron Ennis come off a fight with Stantionis, he said Norman ain't really that good. But this is a guy who couldn't emulate what Brian Norman did. Brian Norman went in there and left no doubt in cleaning Jen Sasaki's clock. As in Ennis, he couldn't get a guy out of there in Avanesian, who they was talking about, why is Crawford dropping out negotiation fighting Avanesian? Avocado, who? So after the fight was over, I remember Bozy being interviewed. And that particular person asked him what he thought on Crawford stopping Avanesian. He said that was what he's supposed to do. I mean, come on. Well, no, he ain't nobody. What that was he supposed to do? And who is that guy anyway? But when it came down to Ennis couldn't get him up out of there. That's what they say, right? If you're fighting an opponent that's been knocked out already, well, one of the way you gain FICO points is you go in there and get it done in better fashion. Ennis couldn't do it. Just because he retired on the stool, no, that's not a KO. No, we're talking about remove the T. We're talking about the K and the O. Kilo Oscar. Okay? He had an RTD, bro. The culminating moment, another layer of exposure that he couldn't get Avanesian up out of there. He gets a smaller fighter in Stantionis up out of there. And they run around and say, oh, yes, they're desperately seeking Ennis. This is what this is all about. The movie should be out soon. Desperately seeking Ennis. Mr. Tune me up. Tune me up. Mr. Tune me up. Tune me up. That's Mr. Tune me up right there. What other boxer do you know in the sport will call up a person like Turki Al-Sheikh that has a huge manifesto for boxing? I mean, an incredible spreadsheet of matching up fights. And you get a Philly fighter, knowing Philly's footprint in boxing. Philly has a certified footprint in boxing, man. You get a modern day fighter that's supposed to be the king, that's supposed to be the numero uno, that's supposed to be the star pupil over in Philly. And he's over there talking to Turkey. Hey, man, I'm all about turning 28. First and foremost, man. Hey, and let me tell you something. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I'm happy for you. But many fighters I signed have birthdays. So what's next? Hey, I just want to let you know. Feeling 28 years old. Okay. I've been hearing some things. You've been, matching up fighters with hard fights. I need 2 tune-ups, Turk. Just 2, Turk. Come on, do me this one. Come on, Turkey. Do me this one, Turkey. I'm trying to work on my boxing fight go too. Man, I need some knockouts, Turkey. Do me one, man. Don't leave me hanging, Big Turk. Come on. Turkey up this. No, my friend. Hold up, my friend. You are a unified champion. You're moving up as a unified champion at 147 to 154. Do you know something? You know my friend from my Omaha friend. No, Turkey. I don't know too many people. No, yes, my friend. You know my friend Crawford. I saw all this trash talk, everything you do, you say, everything I see. And my friend Crawford, his first fight at 154 was against a champion. 11 fights, a champion. I don't remember. I don't want. No, my friend. You know YouTube. You know social media. You just look it up. He fought a champion, but you, at one point in time, was calling out my friend to say, you won't fight. Do you still want to fight at 154? I could call my friend up after Canelo, okay, and see if you won't fight for the WBA championship at 154. No, Turkey. The offer's still out there, Turkey. I want 2 tune-ups, Turkey. Come on, Turkey. You're making me emotional, Turkey. I'm 29 years old, Turk. I apologize. I was talking, man. People was influencing, peer pressure. I apologize for talking all that crap about Crawford. But I'm not him. Ennis over there telling Turkey he needs 2 tune-ups. And you wonder why you cannot get a pre-approved. You cannot get co-signed out here in these boxing streets no more, Ennis. You can't. Ennis can't get co-signed out here, yo. You know how you go in and try to get loans, and sometimes if your credit or you got too much of debt to income ratio is too high, and you can get approved with a cosigner. I mean, at this point, Ennis can't even get a cosigner on that shit. He trying to get a cosigner for a loan to cross over to 154 and pay the toll to cross that bridge, and nobody will do it. You know why? Because they're saying to themselves, after everything and all the talk, you saying boxers ain't that good, and you have an excuse as to why you don't want to fight this fighter and that fighter, but you're moving up to 154 and you need 2 tune-ups to get ready, and you're 30 years old. I mean, because in Ennis's mind, in my opinion, he gets older every time he thinks about them challenges that's up against at 154. By the time he returns to Ariel Helwani's show and makes his debut at 154, when you hear Ennis speak, he's going to be damn near 46 and a half years old, bro. He probably going to have some people put some gray dye in his shit. He going to go out there looking like a black Abraham Lincoln. Hat and everything. I just want to say to my friends, I'm happy to be at 154 pounds. I turned 48 in 2 weeks, and I'm looking for 2 tune-ups. Just give me 2 tune-ups. Give me my oxygen tank. I want 2 tune-ups. Ennis wants 2 tune-ups, y'all. This is the phenom. No, brother. You cannot be the phenom when you're asking for 2 tune-ups. They was hyping you. Tune me up. They was hyping you, bro. And you said you couldn't get up for the lower tier opposition, but yet you attempt to move up to 54 and you want 2 tune-ups? This is absolutely disrespectful to anyone and everyone that's tuned in. This is disrespectful. Don't ever accept that. Don't ever accept this right here. No, 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 no. No, no. We went through this before. No, Errol Spence Jr. Y'all can stop that. Don't you dare come out your mouth and compare him to Roy Jones Jr. Roy never had this type of mentality. Errol Spence never had this type of mentality. Never. EJ came back off an accident and fought DSG. And then from DSG went and fought Udinas Ugas. And then Crawford. And though he took a lot of damage, he kept getting up. But when you just don't want to be anywhere close to that bubble of challenge, when you don't want to know what challenge and controversy is all about, you just want to go in there and get 2 more tune-ups? Jaron Ennis is 34 victories into boxing, and he is the the mascot, the poster fighter for ducking. Jaron Ennis. And I don't know why, like, he has the cachet of tools to go out here and put on the show. It's something ain't right. For this man to believe that, to keep his fans waiting like that. What I love about this transition is that Turkey is on the chessboard. So the gateway says that Turkey holds the keys. Turkey holds the entry, the EAP, as we call it. Turkey is controlling the EAP. Y'all know what EAP is? Entry access point. Turkey controls the EAP. All that fighting in Philly and being accommodated, that's done. That's done. That's done, bro. If you want to talk about money here, money there, guess who signed up for a fight under Turkey Al-Sheikh, yo, before Jaron Ennis? Tune me up. Tune me up. Who? Brian Norman Jr., Devin Haney. How is that possible? Now, somebody explain that to me. They was talking about Brian getting 17 times. Brian not really that good, but he is signed in to fight Devin Haney, former undisputed lightweight champion, WBC super lightweight champion, Norman, WBO welterweight world champion. They're locked in for a fight in November. And Ennis is where again? Because he say Brian Norman ain't really that good. So why isn't Ennis being talked about? Alana, let me go to his box rec again. I might mix something. You know what I'm saying? Let me go. Let me close my eyes a little bit. Close my eyes. Take a deep breath. I want to be surprised. Okay. Looking at Jaron Ennis's resume. Yeah, that's him. Look the same. Black dude, 28 years old. Okay. 5'10", 74-inch reach. KO percentage, 88.24%. Wow. But to posted fights, to my dismay, I do not see any type of yellow. No. Hold up. Not the type of pungent, Pisco yellow. No, I'm talking about the yellow strip that goes across at the top of the box rec that visually informs us that particular fighter has an upcoming schedule, official fight on the calendar. I'm looking and examining Brian Norman's box rec, and I don't see none of that shit. If this wasn't my equipment, I would goddamn punch the shit out this screen. But since it's mine, I paid my money for it, I'm not going to break my own shit. But I'm looking at Jerron Ennis, who has 35 professional fights, y'all. He said Norman really ain't that good. But Norman has fought Jin Sasaki with a KO and is now lined up to face Devin Haney. But Jerron Ennis is out there panhandling. Talking about, tune me up, tune me up, tune me up. He trying to get donations for a tune-up. It's in many ways to do it. Turkey don't want to do it. I can go to the streets of Philly. They love me out here in Philly. Can somebody explain to me why a phenom? You know what? I have to do this. Because I look at Brian Norman. They scheduled November 22nd, 2025. Yes, that's the guy who just came off the knockout win over Jin Sasaki. Then I go to Ennis's resume. I don't see shit scheduled. I don't see nothing, man. Calm down, WCS. I'm going to place an inquiry into a search engine. Okay. If you just bear with me for a minute. Why I try to come up with. Okay, hold on for a second. Because this technology can get a little shaky. What I did was I went into a search and I typed in phenom. No, not with an F. Okay, PHENOM, phenom, because that's what they tag Boots Ennis has been. The definition reads as follows: a person who is outstandingly talented or admired, especially an up and comer. Did y'all hear that? Person of phenomenal ability or promise. Oh, let's talk about that ability or promise. That's the whole push behind Ennis, that he has the ability and he has the promise. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Throughout what I've seen in life, promises are always meant to be shattered. I'm not saying Jerron promise as a fighter has been shattered. I'm just saying there's some broken shit on the ground already. There's some chipped edges. Okay. This ain't the way it's supposed to be. Those of you that's walking around and getting close to Ennis's silhouette, make sure you have some shoes on, because you might get a piece of that promise stuck in your foot. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not living up to the promise. He has the ability. We've seen the ability play out in front of us. But Ennis, the promise part of it is meant to be broken. And so far, we have not seen him exemplify the promise part of his career. Where is the exemplification? Where is the illumination? Where is the lucidness? Where's all of the light? I want to see the light. Where's the bulb? 154 was supposed to be where he comes into the picture and the whole division's like, oh shit, Ennis is finally here. Did y'all hear? Ennis is here. He's here, y'all. Do you know who's fighting? No, man, his box recs don't say shit. Is there anybody in the top 15? Seriously doubt it. You didn't hear from me. Seriously doubt it. I seen them over there at the YMCA trying to get find members that around his same age, get them a boxing license, see if their eyesight is good, see if they can pass just the basic physical. He's looking for 2 tune-ups, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Jerron Ennis is looking for 2 tune-ups, while other compeers of his up at 154 is fighting tough opposition. Tim Tszyu just faced another loss, but he's in the mix. Sebastian Fundora has been knocked out, came back. He's still just came out of a win. If you are phenomenal, shouldn't you be calling these guys out? Let me touch bases on a human being that asked me a question. And though I feel that it was led by emotions and frustrations and definitely hate, this particular person asked me, why don't Crawford vacate his belt? Okay. And look, that's a legitimate question for that individual to ask. Okay. Why don't Crawford vacate his 154-pound belt? My answer to that is, first of all, he earned that belt in the ring. He earned it. He beat my dream off, right? He earned it, right? Okay. Being that he earned that fight and won that fight, I mean, he earned that belt and won that fight. He's pretty much transitioning to one of the biggest mega fights of this era. Now, what does that say about someone trying to recognize Mr. Tune Me Up? He's moving up to 154, and his assumptions and accusations are that Crawford's holding up the 154-pound division. But let me explain something to you. If a person haven't gave you any indication that they're moving up to 154 to fight a champion, we know Crawford would not be a tune-up for anybody. So we exclude Crawford. Okay, we exclude him off the teep. Now we have to look for anyone close to the WBA. So if you take an interim WBA champion, they wouldn't be considered a tune-up, right? Okay, so we exclude that. So if we go in the top 10 of the rankings, top 10 of the WBA rankings. Let's go over there. Let's go. It's WBA. God. Okay. Let's go to okay. Right now, currently, I'm pretty much looking directly at the WBA rankings in the super welterweight division. And I, first off the rip, I see Terrence Crawford as a WBA world champion. Okay, let's get that established. Now, this is not about, you know, the man himself, Terrence Crawford. Stand on topic. This is about Jaron Ennis requesting 2 tune-ups or making his debut. That particular person was saying that Crawford somehow, some way, was not allowing Ennis to make this phantom, not opening his mouth, but just making a thought, allowing his thought to register as if he actually verbally committed to moving up to 154 and facing a WBA contender. I don't know. Nobody never verbally heard this, but when it comes to the thought process, brainwaves, I think that's where this guy was going. So we look at the champion, Baru, Ramos Jr., Kurbanov. Even Madrimov is ranked number 5. I haven't heard nothing from Ennis saying he'll fight Madrimov, a common opponent of Crawford and Virgil Ortiz. 2 fighters who he clearly don't want no part of. What about Lucero? Isaac Lucero Blanco? Oh, here's familiar face. There's a familiar face right there. That might be the tune-up that he's looking for. That might be too tough for him too. Terrell Goucher. You know what I'm saying? Terrell Goucher is ranked number 11. There's a surplus of names in the top 15 in the WBA in the super welterweight division where all Ennis has to do is get on the phone and say, I want to fight somebody in the rankings. But is these fighters in the rankings a tune-up if they're ranked? I would suggest that they're not, right? So One or two things has to happen. You need to pick somebody with a viable name that really stands out to the people and they want to see you fight. It cannot be Karen who decided to move up to 154 and fool the people and say, oh, this is a trilogy. But not in 147. We're going to have Karen and Jerron Ennis fight. And their debut. No, we're not trying to hear that bullshit. So once we go to the top 15 rankings, there's 15 names for this phenom to choose from to build up his FICO score. If he selects to fight somebody that's outside the top 15, man, y'all better stop. You better shut down shop immediately. You better foreclose on any future freaking meetings, townsmanship, protest. Y'all better shut that shit down. Because this man has 15 names from the super welterweight rankings if he wanted to fight in the WBA. Okay, that guy who talked to me, much respect to him. He talks, whatever, keeps the energy. But when you ask the question, right, you have to understand you should already have some pre-context to it. I don't think you really went over this Q&A with yourself because there are 15 names. And just because you now have seen Crawford get catapulted up to the WBO as super middleweight, you cannot go back down here to super welterweight and accuse Crawford of holding up a sanctioning body when the fighter that you're advocating for did not request to fight any other names in the top 15. Stop it. I ask that you halt any further operations in advocating for this fighter and go back to the office. And y'all need to have meetings at least about 4 or 5 times out of the week to get this man back on track. He has 15 names. Terrence is still the WBA world champion. And then you have the WBA interim champion. So guess how that's gonna work? Y'all don't have any individuals that can call and see if Crawford's gonna freaking vacate that belt. Why aren't y'all trying to say, hey, I was a WBA at 147. Let me move up and fight Tellis. He's the WBA interim champion. You don't want to fight the WBA interim champion? Come on, man. The Cuban, he doesn't look that dangerous. He looks like an innocuous fighter that wouldn't hurt a fly. You don't want no part of the WBA interim champion there, Boots. I mean, you have your people running around here rogue like they are a part of a new 2025 insurgency team, but they don't want any part of the interim champion. You don't want any part since they're going around saying that Crawford's holding up the WBA. You don't want to. Come on, man. Y'all are missing the whole point here. You can't get him to want to fight the interim champion. And then when Crawford finishes dispersion of Canelo Alvarez, he may take in consideration to revisit 154 and fight Ennis if Ennis is not 71.5.3 years old by the time Crawford returns in 2026. Just leave that out there for you. Okay. That's for the Ennis supporters. I have nothing against the Ennis supporters. And do you. I just put it out there. I just thought it would be something essentially important moving forward. Administrative logistics. I know your team know how to submit paperwork. You have a WBA interim champion, a Cuban, but yet you want to say Crawford's holding up the division. I mean, the crazy part about that is that when Jermell Charlo was the undisputed champion, y'all didn't say nothing about him holding up the division when he only dropped one belt heading in there to face Canelo. He dropped Crawford's favorite belt. Yeah. But when Jermell Charlo was going to get that Canelo back, y'all didn't say he was holding up the division. Y'all did not say nothing of a sort. Y'all wasn't even paying attention. You didn't care. But now all of a sudden Crawford comes out here and you say he struggled against Madrimov and he's holding up the division. I mean, come on, man. Y'all need to get some therapy with that shit, man. That's all I'm saying. Some complete therapy. Shout out to Juice Lee in the building, man, with the $5 super chat. He said, clout chasing, Bud, lead mechanic, Ennis looking for tune-ups and tire rotations. Man, talk that talk, man. We're not on board with all this tune me up, tune me up, tune me up. I mean, just imagine what his dancer look like. Jerron Ennis dancer. What he gonna come in there with a goddamn mechanical belt on, with some wrenches in his hand, with some boxing gloves hanging off his neck? Tune me up. Tune me up. Come on, Mr. Tune me up. Come on, bro. Stop it. Juice Lee say lead mechanic and is looking for tune-ups. Man, he is, bro. Turkey Al Sheik. He's like my friend. He never used my friend so much in his freaking life. My friend. Listen, my friend. Hold up, my friend. Hey, my friend. Put your father on the phone, my friend. No, I can't do this with you. Don't put your father on the phone. No. I need to speak to the older gentleman. I can't do this. Still catching up to current times after Norman Jr. Debbie says we'll trade Boots and Fulton for Brian Norman. Let me know. To trade something, that means you was in possession of, right? I'm just curious. I was never in possession of Fulton and Boots. So how would the trade happen? I'm just curious. I've never had any type of possession or attempt loan Boots or Stephen Fulton. Shout out to Stephen Fulton, though. He's doing his thing. Stephen Fulton's mentality is definitely not Boots. I'm serious. It's not the same. It's not the same, yo. With these soft fighters, I hate the excuses. I can understand legitimate reasons not to fight at a certain point, but man, Boots has no excuse. None, bro. None. He has no excuse, man. Boots has bad transmission asking for these tune-ups. That's Mr. Tune Me Up, y'all. He's supposed to have all the talent in the world. You know what I'm saying? The ability. What they say in the definition? Promise. I think they need to switch that promise word out of the definition. It's just too fragile, yo. It is. It's too soft. The promise should be up out of there, man. You know how and you in relationships, some of you cats, you know, whatever, you be giving your girl promise rings. They absolutely mean nothing except depending on where you got the jewelry from, okay? If it was out on the sidewalk or in a real jewelry store, promise means nothing. It's just promising that you'll try your best to stay in a relationship until you break up. And if you purchase the ring upon breakup, you would not have you would not be in possession of that ring. That ring is gone. So if you still have a bill left to pay on it, you're going to be paying on it. That's your promise. Promise to continue and sustainable debt. Period. That's the promise. I need this in my AM, dog. You're not lying, though. Hey, man, I'm just trying to be honest that this is Mr. Tune Me Up. Boost is Mr. Tune Me Up. Come on, man. The other people don't want to say it, but come on, man. If you put that song on, Hype Me Up, and Mr. Tune Me Up, same thing, man. Same thing, except Boots Hype Man. He has a goddamn a mechanic belt on, a tool belt. He got a tool belt, boxing gloves, wrenches in both hands, boots with no socks. You know what I'm saying? Tune me up. That's what he doing. Bozy need to take that dang wave cap off with hey, yoke boots up and get his ass in the ring and say F the two up. Hey man, shout out to Bozy. I don't have no smoke with Bozy, man. I don't care if that man, if you get his age and still in the type of shape of Bozy, man, I don't care about no do-rag, bro. That man has every right to do what he's doing, you know. But like you said, He needs to find a way to get Boots on track. He do. The only type to take tune-ups before undisputed fight, if it came down to it. I wonder if the fight fans are even going to view this fight potential. Crawford coming off Canelo, would Boots even be on the radar? Because Crawford's stature, I mean, I'm talking about his praising of value, his overall report card as a fighter, his overall value, beating Canelo, Boots wouldn't even be in the conversation. It will almost be like Crawford, like Canelo fighting John Ryder or Alney Yildirim. If he was to go up to that high and then he reached back and fight a fight that don't make sense. If Ennis hasn't did anything at 154, by the time Crawford gets out of, September 14th, right? Then why would somebody return back down to 54 to face Ennis when Ennis had a debut? Because we talk about getting credit for these fights, right? They say Canelo is not going to get credit for Crawford because he haven't had a fight at 168. That's what they were saying, right? So when Ennis comes up here to 54 and he hasn't had a fight, he can't be waiting on Crawford. And nor do I believe Crawford will ever give him the check he's looking for. He won't give him any type of AT&T that he thought Crawford was going to reach out and touch him with a freaking favor. Hey, man, I see you've been working hard with them tune-ups, man. I get it. What I tried to do, I talked to my boy Turkey, and he's trying to see if he want to, allow you and I to have a fight in 2026. So I'm not telling you not to fight. You can take any fight you want, but I did put the word in for you. That's not going to happen. Active champ asking for tune-ups is crazy. You let Boots tell it. He's been out the ring and rusty for years. Yet he has more fights than most fighters. Man, look, hey, Juice, it's no other fighter that's even close to Jaron in his experience when it comes to the numbers, right? That's doing what he's doing, moving the way he's moving. It seems like the fighters that's somewhere in the proximity of the welterweight division, they're not doing this, especially at 54. You're not having fighters that tune up. Tim Tszyu coming off that loss, he went in there with Joey Spencer and then got right back in there with Fundora. It may not have worked out for him, but still, he did it. He did it, yo. Shout out to Swat Jones, man, with the 10-piece in the super chat, man. I mean, the Cash App. I appreciate you, big dog. The hottest chat in the MF game, man. Appreciate you. One love to everybody that's pretty much supported the channel, my day one fam. You know what I'm saying? The trenches. I appreciate y'all, man, for always stopping through, man. Quality over quantity any day of the week. That's crazy because Pacquiao 46 been out of boxing for years and still fought no tuna. Oh, why you do that? Oh, did you see? Oh, it's just nasty, dog. It's nasty, but disrespectful for you to even mention Pac. You right though. Pac, he didn't ask for a tune-up. And look, Carlos, if we really want to get into the mood of age dropping, that is someone who can age drop right there. But just keep on mentioning, I'm 28. Man, come on, man. Pac came off several years. Like Carlos just mentioned, he ain't asked for no tune-up, man. And went 12. Yo. I mean, I'm not saying I pretty much love the fight. It's in my archives, but Pacquiao didn't ask for a tune-up, bro. EJ didn't ask for a tune-up. That's what they're trying to emulate you off of, right? That's over. That's gone. There's a lot of fighters not asking for tune-ups. They're not asking for tune-ups, bro. Boots moving like he's 3-0 and fighting in a Golden Corral parking lot. He's a victim. Man, I just hope they get it right, man. This man is trying to be just a Philly boxer, a Philly name. He's trying to be a local legend. You know, he's a world champion. I hope he's not satisfied with just saying, okay, I was a unified champion and I can go back to just chilling and walking around with my people. No, bro, like I don't understand it, man. I guess it's not for me to understand what Boots is doing. I guess it's not for me to understand. Let me read you something right quick. Right? Well, I always talk about you know, black fighters should be paying close attention on being phased out of these divisions. Okay? This right here is the panel who is the best up and coming boxer. This is the up and coming boxer, right? This is the panel. Talking about the up and coming boxer. It says let me start right here. Rui Hernandez is a boxing coach. No, that's not it. Hold on for a second. Mike Rodriguez. I just want to get to the judge. I'm not going to read the whole paragraph. He said, I like Callum Wash. Okay. Pay attention. I like Callum Wash as a fighter. I worked with him since the beginning of the career. You know, what I love most about him is fighting spirit and warrior mentality. Okay. John Pullman. I'm watching the lightweight Andy Cruz, the Cuban. His accolades speak for themselves. He was a gold medal Olympian in 2020 and now the IBF #1 contender in the lightweight division. He has flawless technique along with natural gifts and that you can't teach. Okay. He most recently won against Mishiro, sealed it for me. All right. Listen, Pepe Riley. I have big expectations for a fighter that I co-train. His name is Dario Kuzminov. Okay. Dario 9-0, 7 knockouts, head trainer Ernie Zavala. Okay, I'm just pay attention to the names. Okay, AJ Jafari. Of all the young fighters knocking on the door of contention, Abdullah Mason stands out for a future long-standing world champion. He has a very fan-friendly style. Okay, they mentioned Abdullah Mason. Okay, we know who Abdullah Mason is. We know he's about to face Sam Noakes. Okay, the one black fighter out of up and coming, and I don't even know if Abdullah Mason is considered the up and coming anymore because he's at the door. He's a title contender. Mark DeLuca. There are a few up and coming prospects, but the best kept secret is Thomas O'Toole from Ireland. His last performance against Von Alexander showed me, and that's Devin Alexander's older brother, showed me a lot of what potential O2 has. All he needs to do is keep refining his tools. All right. Right here. Roberto Diaz. The up and comer I'm watching is Joel. I don't know, Iriarte. I'm somewhat biased. Diaz worked with Iriarte, of course, but truthfully, he is special and the real deal. All right. John Mizone. I am biased since the up and coming. This guy right here, the up and comer I am watching is Justin Figueroa, who is under the Fighters First Management banner. In boxing, there's a thing called the it factor, and believe he is the total package. Okay, this is Justin Figueroa. Eddie Croft, Keon Davis. Okay, because he beat a fighter I trained, Dante Kirkman, but also middleweight Amari Jones. I think Amari is good. It isn't just one performance from Amari since I haven't seen all of this pro fights. I have seen him train many times. So we're looking at Amari Jones and we're looking at Keon Davis. Okay. That is the younger brother of Keyshawn Davis. So that's 3 black fighters out of the up and comers. We can say 2 really, because I don't consider Abdullah Mason to be an up and comer no more. He's about to fight for a title, him and Andy Cruz. But Keon Davis, absolutely. Absolutely. Amari Jones, absolutely. They're up and comers. What about Aaron Navarro? A couple of guys Robert Garcia is working with. Raymond Morataya. Is Raymond Morataya an up and comer? No. Stop it. He's a champion already. Albert Chop Chop Gonzalez. Is he an up and comer? Depending on how you rate his freaking experience and his resume. Rudy Hernandez. It is sad for me to say, but I don't know. The last fighter that I saw that was up and coming was Jerron Boots Ennis. And this is what my lead up. I thought he was a bigger version of Terrence Crawford. If he could knock you out in one round, he'll take you out. All of a sudden, I'm not making this up. All of a sudden, he is no longer where I thought he'd be. You see, Jerron, it's not me. It's not just me, bro. All of a sudden, he is no longer where I thought he would be. Right now, he should be one of the biggest stars in boxing. And you know what, people? It's a reason for required reading. Okay? And I wanted people to see how limited there was with upcoming fighters, upcoming boxers, rather, the black ones. But just in general of ones and names that you know. But Rudy Hernandez is the only one that spoke on a unified champion as potentially at one point in time being that up and coming fighter. But he says all of a sudden he is no longer where I thought he'd be. Right now, he should be one of the biggest stars in boxing. Do you agree? He said he should be one of the biggest stars in boxing. This man has lost faith. He has lost faith in you, Jerron Ennis. That's all I'm saying. He has lost faith. Soft Sandal Ennis is a disgrace to the young fighters coming up. Is he a disgrace for one tune-ups? I mean, if you want to use that type of brashness, I don't know if disgrace is there yet for Ennis. Like, I would say disgraceful if he was in a tough fight and he quit. You know what I'm saying? He just said, nah, I'm out of here. And he tried to, like he did something like it like Amir Khan did to Crawford. He tried to say Crawford hit him in the cup, but it was on the left part of the upper thigh, and he just quit. Then I say disgraceful. Him wanting tune-ups is more so if you're using the D word, it's disappointing. For real, it's just extremely disappointing, yo. Extremely disappointing. At the end of the day, it's just extremely disappointing. I ain't gonna hold you. It's disappointing. Period. So let me briefly touch on Tank Davis. Why? Because there are so many people that tend to bring him up every single day. And I will put this out there with Tank. You know, Tank has been going through whatever issues he has to take care of legally and personally, okay? But every single day his name is brought up. Why? Because they miss him. Point blank, period. His critics miss the shit out of Tank. They miss him so much, man. They just want him to do what they say. Tank, just do what we say. Please just do what we say. They've been coming out here talking about when you get into these deep debates, they'll say something to the extreme like, who on Tank resume is to the likes of Shakur? You know what I'm saying? Who on Shakur resume is to the likes of Tank? If you can't answer that, then they should fight. No, that's just not the way it goes. That's just not how the whole formula works. That's just not how the whole formula works. Both of them are 3-division champion. However you want to gauge it and rate it of whatever criteria you choose to use as evidence, cool. But at the 135-pound division, Tank does what boxing wants him to do. And that is his gross factor as a prize, P-R-I-Z, prize fighter. We forget about that. He is a prize fighter that brings in a lot of revenue. Some of you guys continue to just go to resumes. Some of you continue to just sit up here and shed tears. You know what I'm saying? Becoming your own human rainforest. I'm like, God damn it, chill, bro. They're mentioning Tank all based off a fighter who they was shitting on. Lamont Roach goes the distance, and they feel like Tank took a knee. This is all the reason for them to hate on Tank. All because Steve Willis derelict his duty to do anything that they deemed it should have been an 8 count. For real. And they believe that Tank should have been DQ'd for sticking his head out, right? But they're overlooking Steve Willis for pretty much what he did. Or didn't do. The decision-making process. But why continue to blame Tank? You all was saying he's pulling up Lamont Roach, and all you was doing is treating Jamel Herring like he was Yurkis Gamboa. Y'all didn't give Lamont Roach a chance in hell. But after he went the distance, there you go. You see you squirming across the motherfucking plain into the dirt patch in the wheat field, trying to creep back up to that bandwagon so you can be a passenger once it takes off in the morning. Hey, yeah. We did a head call. Hey, who are you? Who are you? You're like 5 of your new guys here. Where did you come from? We just came in overnight. We want to support him. That's what we want to do. We want to support him. Yeah. That's all we want to do. You want to support who? You know what I'm saying? They hopped on the goddamn Lamont Roach bandwagon all of a sudden. And he's going to be the guy that goes the distance with Tank. He's going to be the guy. He was shitting on Lamont Roach so bad previous to the fight. They didn't care. They say he struggled with Hector Luis Garcia. But now all of a sudden he's the topic, the primary topic, the premier topic when it comes to Tank's name. All the freaking time, bro. They want to bring up something about what Lamont Roach did in the fight. He almost knocked Tank out. Lamont Roach was not the only fighter to go the distance with Tank. That's all I'm saying. He wasn't the first fight. He wasn't the first fighter to do that. So if you all continue to get mad at what Steve Willis did, why don't you hit Steve Willis in the DMs? Hit him on X. He selected not to count. Tank wasn't supposed to count himself. I mean, it's good to do volunteer work, but not in the ring. When you trying to convince the people, no, I'm going to give myself an 8 count. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself a 10-8 round because I did take a knee. No, Steve Willis, hold up, man. Hold up. I'm going to do what's honorable because I'm trying to be honorable now. I'm trying to win back my fans. They don't turn their back against me. I'm trying to do the honorable thing now. I'm going to count myself and I'm going to get up on 9. Still don't, wait the fight off now. Okay. I mean, goddamn. I just look at it like they mention Tank every day comparable to Shakur, but Shakur just said he want to fight Cruz and Lamont Roach first. Somewhat like when they asked when YSM Sports asked Jerron Ennis what is his lineup of fighters that he want to fight coming up when he had the belt, since he had the belt now. And Jerron Ennis said Stantionis. Yeah. He said Stantionis. He said another fighter's name. He said Crawford name last. The same thing. Shakur. I want to fight Cruz, Roach, Tank. Tank is the third option. Okay, I'm just putting it out there, yo. I'm just putting it out there, man. I'm just putting it out there, yo. Tank going through it right now. You can tell Tank's diehard fans in limbo. Calvin and Kenny Locke. Look, they don't know what to tell Tank fans. Hope they tighten up. It's weird. Yeah, they're gonna have to get it together, man, because whoever support Tank, we can't do nothing about it. Okay. Y'all, Roach on his own agenda right now. Roach just looked like limelight and ran with it. Roach is on a world tour right now. Yeah, he is. He's enjoying it. He keep on telling people the Tank ain't paid his money. Bro, let it go. A handshake don't mean nothing as far as agreement or locking in anything unless you the shakers and movers and y'all have an honor code. Besides that, if boxers shake hand on impulsive bets that they make in front of millions, it still has very small minimal value, yo. very minimum value. But shout out to El Chin Checker. Hopefully we get some news coming up that we can brag about. But really, you got the big fight that I know that's locked in, Crawford and Canelo. That is the biggest fight in boxing. Seriously, that is the biggest fight in boxing right now. And yes, I'm not saying we don't have any bigger fights coming up. We do have some big fights, but we even have Brian Norman, Devin Haney locked in for November. I mean, we got some big, heavy fights coming up at the end of the year. So we do have that to look forward to. Speaking about these previous fights, don't be disappointed because that's boxing at the end of the day. Boxing is an acquired taste. You think you're going to basically indulge in the same entree, but the taste will never be the same when it comes to boxing. I guarantee it. But shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game, man. Thanks to everyone who donated to the channel. One love to you all. Salute.